of around midfield. Centered immediately. See a zone look from DC. Kind of a zone look. But it seems more of a match with a little bit of sag.
Yeah, I think they've definitely transitioned early here, trying to get some match in to stop the initial hooking look.
So now Seattle approaching the red zone, looking to maintain that calm composure. Not in, cuts right on the goal line. The continue is good. So Seattle centers immediately. DC rather. And a little bit out of reach, but still caught. And looking for the end zone, goes overhead. Thought maybe.
Get close to the end zone, but hard to execute there, and so given the disc to Seattle for their first break opportunity of the game.
So Seattle will need to work it upwind. They send a very strong huck. The receiver is pointing, oh, that was my bad. The throw was tough.
Yeah, I think he was very aware of how much inside out he needed to get on the disc to throw it upwind.
So answering with the huck, DC one-on-one so far in this second point. That inside look from Seattle. Have a lot of patience once they catch the disc. And there is a deep look.
As the game continues, but definitely some structural jitters there.
So a disc that goes behind the receiver, still caught. We'll reset it to the handler. High release backhand goes over the top, backpedaling.
Coming stars of the future.
Of Seattle, immediate quick disc movement. Let's see, DC just in a couple passes for a zone. Now they're working it on the near sideline. Coming into their end zone offense. Working both sides of the field, especially attacking that break side. Seattle favorite.
It's another good pull from Quinn Edgerton.
So Foggy Bottom started in 3 handlers back into a vertical stack, but immediate initiation kind of moves that back into the horizontal formation. And layout, sliding catch, incomplete. So the look is going up for the Seattle break and tracking it all the way.
For the offensive hold, this could be tricky.
They're moving through, trying to get to the middle. They do, swing it to the far side of the field. There's one cutter streaking deep, but they'll keep it in the handler space. Gains yards underneath. And that disc You could see the wind really pushing it down, but it does stay up.
The stack has drifted quite far deep. You can barely see them on screen. Might be causing them some troubles here. So the handlers are really struggling to get the cutters involved. There's been a pit called downfield.
Seattle playing pretty close person defense as well.
Big
Huge
gust of wind.
That was a nice pass using the wind to really lead it as the rain picks up at the field, sails overhead, snagged out of the air. Baker with that interception. He'll look to reset quickly for Seattle. And the huck goes up, but we
needed to keep the disc off the floor and give his receiver a chance to catch it.
But it does give favorable field position to Seattle, as this upwind is very difficult.
And the Seattle defense is unreal.
Ooh. Squeezing through. DC able to get that upwind, and it's floating and moving. Seattle catching the pole, centering. You can see actually all 4 cutters go deep, but then 2 come back under.
It's a zone look from DC. Again, trying to use the wind to their advantage.
So Seattle looking to crash the cup. Now they're trapped on the near sideline, but continue with possession. They're very, very slow until now, but that's tipped. It's still staying. Oh! And on the next look is good. And see,
their strategy has been good. It's a really good pull from Seattle to pin the Foggy boys right in the back of the end zone.
And there's the huck. It's floating and intercepted Dean, but he will overthrow his teammate. So that is almost a half field yardage gain for Foggy Bottom boys. Get it off the sideline. Staying on that far side.
A lot of defensive pressure being brought here by Seattle. Very tight on the cutters downfield. Sagging a little bit on the handlers to try and put off those throws. But another hook goes up.
It's floating to the right. Intercepted by Seattle.
Essentially being replayed to find something that isn't going to be disputed.
Merriman, the disc. Kind of looking for that backhand. It pops up. Second look, no good. Seattle will get the disc back. Dean on the near sideline shoots for the end zone, and another leg. And I mean, really takes skill even to have a flat disc thrown with as much as the wind is blowing right now. DC staying calm. The gust subsides just shortly.
Layout bid there by Rapisura. He's really fired up for this game, been playing some very energetic defense.
And almost looked like a hand block, but kept that possession. It's floating and trails.
Seattle to really establish themselves and establish a lead.
And almost looked like that was going to be overthrown. Seattle keeps the possession. Seattle going into their end zone set. Look at that angle on the disc to get there. Over the top. And the continuation was the right.
The bottom boys have been very unlucky with the gusts of wind.
The gusts have seemed to pick up right when they get it. Shkuli to Rapasura has that high release flick. In. Foggy Bottom boys going downwind.
Vertical stack. The pull play done well, but just an execution error on the first throw, and they've given the disc straight back to Seattle.
So Seattle with the opportunity to go up by 4, but they'll need to go upwind to do it. A hand block from DC. Henry Wolfson, just Johnny on the spot. Quick dishes, DC. They'll put up the huck. It's low. And
Do is just get it a little bit higher, and the receiver can go get it, but just too low. Seattle have another chance to drive upwind.
so Seattle back on offense. And a miscue. I think the other handler slipped on the ground.
I think that's Vanetti there, just staring too long upfield, hoping to find options, and then doesn't give enough time for his reset to get set, and miscommunications are going to happen if you rush those reset passes.
So Foggy Bottom.
Gets it to about the Brit mark.
So Port will come pick up.
Zone look from DC. Again, trying to slow down Seattle. This worked really well for them when Seattle needed to go upwind. In the downwind direction, zones often don't work as well. But there we go. As I say that.
Really good heads up anticipation from Ruggiero.
This could be what the Foggy Bottom boys need to get back into this game. Seems like a
in.
Cut, sorry.
DC able to get into scoring position, except for an interception.
A huge layout D there.
And now
And Kutz has put it deep.
the huck right away. Another pull going to about the brick mark. McKnight checks in. Huck immediately. Rosenthal is the receiver, but they're...
And that's something that coaches want to look out for when teams are shooting downwind.
So another huck right away. 3-on-1.
Help defense there, knowing that they don't want to give up a lot of yards on a cheap throw. It's
that strike and fill handler set. Merriman looking for the best reset option. Johnston now. They're working through. And lands and rolls. Port picks up. Cuts in that with a handler amongst that DC zone, goes over the top to Diversula. the high pizza box pass to Port. And continuing, cuts, jumps, but's not in. And the next pass in. And the wind has picked back up. Not to worry. And Merriman launches the flick huck.
Trouble here.
Yeah, the count was getting high, but manages to get the completion.
Seattle's offensive discipline being tested, and
so Seattle with another opportunity to break. Big huck.
there seems like a call, possibly a pick downfield. They're asking for play to stop. A really good hook there.
And very low release, has some air bounce on it. And that is floating backwards, will not be caught. DC picks up. Seattle forcing towards this near sideline, forcing backhand. And the continuation, Merriman.
Good pull inside the brick mark. And the zone is back.
So you can see there's kind of a wall, a mark, and then a wall.
Seems like there are 3 players at the front making a little arrowhead, and then behind that there's 1 player, number 24, who's looking to stop things through the middle. 2 wings looking after the flanks, and 1 player way out of shot looking after the deep space. And the transition's been called. This should be going to a one-on-one match defense.
So as the DC team tries to find their D, Seattle takes advantage and gets the score.
Put this in, get back into the game. Good pull, vertical stack.
And a median huck looking for Merriman, but too short, intercepted.
Pulled down again. Seattle's deep defense has been exceptional. They've won every 50-50 that they've been in. Not a lot of motion happening downfield. The handlers just being forced to work it with each other.
So even with the huck, Foggy Bottom Boys hoping to get a turn, be closer to their end zone to try get the score. Seattle can see the calm and the patience with the various looks. But an overthrow.
Force Seattle into that.
And another huck that's hanging, and
Time to get free, but it's just not working out right now. Schooley gives it to Rapasura.
and through
Big
coverage,
layout.
Bendetti is able to keep it. He'll reset. Seattle moving it towards the far side of the field, then in the middle, and see a lot of bids.
Rapasura shooting deep again.
So looking at the end zone, and a block.
Made a play. The wind's just picked up again.
Foggy Bottom boys working it quickly through. Another huck. Merriman full stride.
That needs to be made on the throws. But straight away a big huck to Rapisura, reels it in. Has a man streaking deep.
And looking for that continue. It's hanging and goes over the top. It's not caught.
Benjamin Priest with the block again.
So Foggy Bottom starting working underneath. A little bit more spacing with the downwind. And the big fakes allow for the huck looks. It's floating, one-handed Sky.
As well as being on the O-line for that previous point. And the zone is coming out again. It seems like a bit of a sag upfield with some one-on-one defense behind that.
Into double coverage is that end zone shot, but it's
the wind.
Rolls a little bit, but Foggy Bottom boys immediately with the set play. Looks to break down a little bit. They work underneath and then shoot it deep. That is hanging and hanging, but a lot of work underneath. Well, handler reset, but it's tipped.
And it's Priest again, coming up with another D.
And through the bobble, that stays active.
Matthew McKnight recovering. Him and Garrett Johnston, currently on disc, have been anchoring this DC offense.
Looked like a bit of a trip, but Johnston is able to maintain possession, but the disc will go back.
Possibly a travel goal.
Merriman with the high release through coverage. Rosen. And right away, shot to the end zone. But that's
back on.
See another isolation play for DC.
Yeah, they've had a lot of joy with that set play. Two front of stack players clearing to one side, back of stack going to the sideline, and second back of stack coming under.
They'll work it up the far sideline. They're nearly to midfield, looking for a chance to take it within one if they can maintain possession. Tight quarters, but manage to keep it alive. And that is floating high, but Merriman one-handed. Another high shot, 2-on-1. No good.
Because throwing the disc really high means it is more affected by the wind, and that was definitely a contributing factor to that turnover.
So Seattle, another opportunity to get back their 3-goal lead. There's the backhand to the end zone.
Schooley with a good rolling pull. Garrett Johnston with the disc.
Foggy Bottom boys trying to take it within 2. They'll need successive breaks to tie it up and take the lead. Very tight defense from Seattle. And that match defense resulted in a turnover. Schooley gets it off the sideline. Attic manages that continuation look.
Seattle's offense moving quite smoothly so far.
They do a great job working it from either sideline. keep the defenders in different positioning.
And they've transitioned into a vertical stat look.
Nice layout catch. So it's a vertical stack end zone with cuts off of the front.
Again, trying to isolate that person out in space. Small ball at the front of the end zone. Good switch there.
Not Callum. They do get the quick dish. They're looking for something on the far side. They'll go break instead, but...
And obstructing defenders.
They'll float up in the air. You see the big pack, and kept Seattle from converting. Now DC will look to take it within 2. Seattle trying to prevent the unders. They are moving it towards this near sideline and into the middle of the field. There is a player going deep. That's floating high, but that is a...
Again. There's the set play. Floater.
Floating in the air, intercepted by DC. Continue. Well, they're looking for that continue, but it goes through the hands. And another huck right away. Lots of angle. And another block. Hockey Bottom Boys answering back. Mascaloni leaves his feet to get it.
And the spin ultimate sign was a bit too much in the way there.
Turnovers back and forth. Some are execution with the win, but also they're both teams just making plays.
Split stack look, clearing 2 players out of the space and bringing the back of that stack down.
Johnston hoping for the second look, but can't get it. And quick layout right off the bat, but DC is able to keep possession.
It's a zone look from Seattle. Could be a good call here. Give DC something different again. Stop the offense from gaining any rhythm. But the Foggy Bottom Boys are carving through this. And a hand block.
That hand block in the middle of the zone, just as DC was starting to get the rhythm. Instead, Seattle with the chance to break and come within 1 of taking the game. But the first throw just doesn't have quite enough angle on the disc.
It's a tricky throw trying to swing the disc across the face of the wind and just couldn't complete that one. Taking an immediate deep shot.
1-on-1, it's completed. Quick give and goes, back and forth. Shot to the end zone. And DC is able to hold. They take it, so it stays in and rolls.
And we're seeing match defense from DC, electing to not play the zone.
Seattle with a sense of urgency, moving it underneath, but then putting up the huck right over the top, plucked out of the sky. Ursula.
Mark a third of the way up the central zone of the pitch. But Seattle are with the zone again.
So Johnston on the sideline, he swings it across, and his teammates will continue that. As Seattle moves into a person defensive look, 1-on-1.
wind has really picked up again. Just in time for a DC possession.
What do you know?
And a turnover.
The interception, a chance to win the game and take the pool if Seattle can convert here, but that's batted down.
Priest says no. He's determined to get some more playing time today. Priest, yet another D.
Very active for DC. Working it through the handlers and then continuing it up the near sideline. DC struggling a little bit to get the disc to their cutters coming underneath.
Yeah, the cutters aren't quite moving as fast as they really need to get that separation, and
So it sails through an interception as another opportunity for Seattle. There's the shot and
decision to make. Priest with the disc.
so a little bit different offensive look from DC. Kind of starting in a side stack. And the side stack really helped that second chance reception be made. They keep the possession. Looking for a chance to stay in the game if they score here.
Nice cut up line. Fakes backwards but manages to kind of swim round to take a line position, and that's a bad drop just outside the end zone.
Just a bobble, but wasting no time.
Rapasura has shown that he likes to throw it deep throughout this game. Just calm down. Just go for the sure thing, because that's what gave him this lead. Merriman on the sideline.
DC looking with the strike cut. They'll continue. Wolfson on the far sideline. He'll center it over to Reichert. Continues to Johnston. And a little behind, but it's there for Alvarado. And the pop-up shot.
Shoots for Priest, who brings it down again.
Priest is there. Now red zone offense for DC. They're not ready to give up the game, working very hard. That is soaring, and Priest
Turner.
kind of right by the edge of the disc. He catches it. Will swing around.
And it is a zone. The wind has dropped quite a bit. It's not too windy, but DC have managed to get turns with this zone when it's been windy and when it hasn't been.
They work it up to find that opening. A lot of space, defender closing in, but still caught. That allows unguarded defender the high point grab.